It's wise to park a ship over here where people think there's a visitor at the museum.
I was actually going to go over and collect wood.
Oh, well, it's alright. I got the roof finished. I don't know.
Oh, perfect.
We can use some wood, but we don't need a ton of wood, I don't think.
Well, I was going to stock up the other. I think Elias was going to work on a new ship.
Oh, yeah, alright. You can come in this way, Elias, if you need. Waves are gonna lift you over there.
It'll be just fine. I'm just fine.
Yep, I do.
Guy has a lot of quinoanisms.
Quinoanisms, yeah.
Quinoanisms. Tansy said awake. She's going to look for Oliver.
Oh, okay.
My plan.
Oliver? I didn't see
How is
Oliver.
he? Oh, he can't
Owen.
walk.
Oh,
No, it's Owen, not Oliver.
Oh.
Is he fine?
Ah.
Yeah.
Owen, alright. Yes, that's good.
Oliver is my
It's
plan.
Oceany.
Yeah. We found a nice little dock here. It's called the Berry Dock.
What'd you call it? Berries?
Yeah, it's a berry dock.
Like raspberry? That's it, the color?
Well,
Berries and cream. Berries and cream. I'm a little lad that loves the berries and cream.
yeah. It's almost like you could set some place settings here and maybe have a tea party.
What in the world? You wouldn't want a tea party right here.
Oh, can you have birthday parties here?
What?
Yes, we can hold social events here.
Oh,
Oh, nice. What do you get for having you have like a pies or what do you offer?
We would have to.
What's the package?
We would have to talk about what the social event is going to be, and then we would cater to the event.
Well, we can do a scooter club event here.
You wouldn't have tacos at an event when you're celebrating Italian eatery.
Yeah. We would like to probably have events here from now on. As you saw, nobody really picked up on our event at the grand opening, so
oh no.
you got like more people in the space and stuff. We'll probably just run events here. You got
Is
the
the side is the inside cooled though? I worry about the heat.
It is. There's a little
town
heat
is
gets
freaking air.
in. It depends on the time of day. Some days it's hotter than others.
Yeah, every time I come here, it's a heat wave.
Heat wave been freaking me out.
Well, maybe you need to adjust your health a little bit to have a little more fortitude. And
I'm forted up.
I smoke
Same.
rocks.
I have like
What?
I had to put it into the numbers. I'd say it's in the 92.
What?
Nothing helps. Even I would freeze to death.
Maybe you're wearing fur.
I'm not wearing anything. Wearing cloth, pretty much, and I'm wearing a gown.
Yeah, it's
Nothing wrong.
unfortunate.
He's got ventilation down there.
Is it a hospital gown?
We got ventilation everywhere.
Oh, we did start on the new section of the town. So we've put in 2 new houses. One could be a business house for the nail salon.
Two
See, I told you.
Oh,
Yes.
it grew.
Yeah, we got 2 buildings now.
It's amazing.
Although the last tour group, I think they were kind of discouraged on coming to the nail salon.
What?
We
You're sabotaging us?
It's
Wow.
No,
As a
we-
member of the
we-
council, I frown onto that.
no,
No
we were
reason.
advertising for you, and they kind of went to.
Oh, well, I might be changing into a therapy salon. Like,
Uh-huh.
Therapy salon. Oh my goodness.
yeah. Just came up with that right now. At the tip of my tongue.
That sounds pretty nice.
About a therapist
Whole new makeup.
where you listen to people's troubles and you give advice.
Yeah, I just gotta listen to him.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's the truth.
What do you keep throwing in there? You littering?
My pockets are full of crab, okay? And it's rotting.
Oh, it's just
the
washed
heat.
back up
Gross.
over on the shore there. There.
It'll be fine. It'll slide down there. It's rotting.
Oh, great. It's
There you go,
raining.
wash
I
away.
have
There you go.
bandages.
I'm gonna go inside because it's raining. I don't want to.
Read the signs on the entry.
There's no.
Try the swilk.
You have to try the swilk while you're here.
Is Owen coming?
I hollered for him, but I didn't hear anyone, so I don't know if he's napping.
Nah.
Hello. Let's see. One.
Welcome to the BoggOdd Oddities Museum.
We'll have 4
Someone will be
adults,
with you shortly.
Maybe 3 adults and 1 child.
We have like some waiting music.
Who's the child?
Sure, I can sing the battle song.
I don't need the waiting music. It's fine.
You'll hear some money.
Money? That better be
So
copper.
if that covers our tickets.
Sure, but
Child. The 3 adults.
there's no
The child is sitting
child.
down right now. He's right over there sitting.
I am
down.
not a
He's right there.
child. If anyone is a you,
Oh,
it's like an ancient person to discount.
He's very overgrown teenage child. He's teenage.
What the
He's just-
balls?
You just have a growth
That's a
spurt.
28. What?
A growth spurt there. He's a little talks back too.
Elias,
Next time you have an episode, I'm gonna let you just.
Hey,
go,
lady,
okay?
hey, you're not gonna. Hey,
Hey,
you better calm down. You're not gonna have any pudding on the boat, okay?
hey,
Enjoy the museum. You follow us.
look, old man.
You learn about
If you
history.
don't come, you're not gonna have any pudding.
the
What about
people
history?
that
I
left
make the pudding,
reviews
so if you
that are
don't
in
both
the
calm down, no
inbox and
pudding for either
outbox
of you.
there.
What?
You don't eat your meat. You can't have any pudding. You can't have any
Okay.
pudding. You don't eat your meat.
Eat your meat.
You have to fill out some paperwork or
Except-
something. Is there like a card or something, like a gas card?
Are
Yeah, how
we?
many punches do we get for this?
Maybe some waivers, so you know if we get horribly scared and die or something.
We need I got a picture up, like we
Dude, we
survived
went
the
to prison.
museum at the
Nothing
end or
scares us no
something.
more.
True, true. I was thinking to get maybe some prison tats, you know.
Yeah, I tried to get a prison branding earlier.
Are
You don't want
we?
to get peed on.
Are we waiting on someone?
No, I think I paid for the 3 adults and 1 child, so.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know that Owen was awake, so.
Okay. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minute
2
warning.
minutes. 2-minute warning.
I'm so excited.
Oh, you need a suggestion. Nothing, maybe some pictures while people wait, of like scary things on the wall, so I could just gaze at them.
I think Tansy was commissioning a picture of Bagatha and myself. I think.
Yeah, I need to get
That's
started
true.
on that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you know what? People just walk around and look at all, they like to look at. Oh, there's a crack in the wall. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's dirty right here. You want people to.
And
Oh, there's a
and
pic-
since Elias is employee of the month, probably commission his first, since he's employee of the month.
Does he, Elias, do you do the sweeping and stuff around here? The vacuum, or, the rug? Shake the rug out?
You gotta
I
beat it.
greet the guests when they come to the museum.
And when they get out of order, do you have the smacker?
Oh,
I've got the pig whacker behind the counter here.
so this is like a tightly monitored tour, huh?
Yes. If you start touching the exhibits or getting out of hand, the bouncer will escort you to the door.
Huh?
I don't want to sit down. My butt. I have a butt problem.
All right, over here.
We don't want you to sit down either.
Yeah, I believe so. Everyone's here that said they were coming.
All right.
And if my child gets scared from the horrors, he's allowed to leave.
I'm not a child, and we are
Okay.
not related.
Children are not allowed unless they enjoy horrors and never-ending nightmares, and then they're welcome here.
Do you have? Are there any jails that we need to know about?
There's at least 2 jails in here that could cause... Yeah. It's all right.
I'm
It's
fine.
just...
It was a misunderstanding.
Okay, well, we
Oh, you-
signed the waivers. and
Wait,
everything,
you
so-
forgot to read the disclaimer, Bogatha.
Oh, we didn't decide.
I haven't gone
Everyone's afraid
into
of
the
freaking-
museum. I'm still here. We're not going in yet.
Make Derek walk first. He's afraid of ghosts.
I'm not
There he
afraid.
is,
I just
afraid
saw
of
him.
ghosts.
Maybe.
Fine.
Leave your
Doesn't really
preconceived
that
notions.
tall.
My ex-wife's
go
already
to
here,
hide.
right?
I think they're starting.
Leave your preconceived notions of the normal world at this very threshold and enter the world of the mysterious, the unusual, and the odd at BoggOdd Oddities Museum. By entering the museum, you agree management not responsible for any and all incidents herein. Right this way.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Derek.
I'm going.
Nah.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Some sort of cat.
Elias, are you coming to join us?
Yes.
I'm gonna wait for more guests.
All right.
The doors will be locked. If you need to leave, please find one of us and we'll escort you to the exit.
As if you feel overwhelmed by what all you've heard here today, we'll be free to help you escape.
I signed your guest book.
All right. At a blazing hot tropical Freeport, there stood a quiet specialty cheese shop at the end of an alley. You're probably questioning if it's appropriate to locate a cheese shop in the melting heat. The answer is no. But not because of the heat, however. It was the feral cats. The cats had taken to begging at the cheese shop. As patrons were leaving, they would kindly drop a crumb or two, leaving the cats to wait for the next patron. Eventually, the roof support beams groaned and popped under the weight of waiting cats. The shop owner attempted to shoo them away at first, but then realized the cats would not touch the crumbs of the most pungent cheeses. A patron remarked, "It's so hot today, the stone walls are almost sizzling." As the patron rounded the corner, the shop owner sprang into action and, gathering the most pungent cheeses together, pressed them into the screaming hot wall where they melted, sticking them on. It really did work. To the cats, the stench of the cheese was so intense that they fled to the far side of the island. The shop owner rested well that evening, until suddenly the roof supports began to creak and groan and pop again. Running out into the dark to chase the cats off the bowing roof, the shop owner caught a glimpse of them in the moonlight. The cats first turned their eyes, then their beaks, toward the shop owner. Then the shop owner realized the roof was covered not in cats, but in hungry vultures. Ah, yes. Any questions, so?
Is this the cheese from the actual shop?
It's similar to the cheese. The pungent cheeses are actually pressed into the hot stones over here. If you want to take a
Oh.
sniff of the pungent cheeses. Won't become overwhelmed.
That's some good stuff. A little high there, but a little dizzy. Oh boy.
The Great Northern Factory disaster took place on a particularly cold, dark, rainy evening. The main source of heat in the frozen north was a giant fireplace located beneath the smokestack here in front of us. The factory backed up to a large rock mountain, and the entrance of a great coal mine was built off of the factory down into the depths of the mountain. The top of the mountain was known as a habitat for an assortment of different animals. The employees of the factory found a particularly large snake roasting on the coals late one afternoon and proceeded to prepare it for their dinner pot. It wasn't unusual for someone to bring what they had to share, although they could not determine who had brought the snake. They made a feast of the snake anyhow and went back to work. As evening grew colder and darker, they placed more and more coals onto the fire. What no one realized is that the snake deliciously roasting on the fire had chased a rather plump sheep from the mountaintop. The snake and the sheep both fell over the ledge and landed on top of the smokestack. The snake had plunged through, further down into the coals below, but the sheep was wedged high above the factory. The toxic smoke had backed up and weakened most of the workers to the point they could not get out. By the time the panic began, all but 3 workers were killed in this tragedy. The death toll was said to be near 458 lives, and it would remain the largest number of people killed by a single sheep for at least 2 more decades.
Oh.
Bloody hell. Be careful about sheep.
There's a lot of scent warnings.
Bro,
here.
you gotta be careful about sheep getting into your shit.
Oh no, there's no scent over there.
Oh, there's a
yeah,
scent.
what if a sheep lays on top of the pipes? That's a good
Yeah,
point.
you gotta be careful. Your shit will explode.
You should sniff this. It's got a different
I'm
scent.
not gonna sniff it.
I sniffed the last one.
I mean, isn't this a scent museum?
No.
No, not everything
Like
has
a Scentsy? Is this a
There's some-
Scentsy?
No, there's some things you're not going to want to smell at all.
I like smelling things.
All right, well, you're welcome
How I
to.
found my ex-wife.
Management not responsible for any and all incidents here, including scents.
And now
You smell like-
spiders.
Before you, here is a certified giraffe examination chair. It's been placed here as
Oh.
public service by the Giraffe Handlers Association. When a giraffe needs to be examined for multiple reasons, it's much easier to inspect the giraffe from way closer to their height. The doctor will climb all the way up to the chair, and the giraffe will be brought closer for inspection purposes. What type of inspections, you're asking? Oh, you over there. One purpose is to inspect whether the giraffe has the giraffe-like teeth or the less common human-like teeth, of course. But a far more common reason is to see if the ears have been laid with spider eggs again, as giraffe ears are known to be the perfect habitat for spider eggs. Laying their eggs in the giraffe's warm ear hair, they lie forgotten until the time comes for the hatching. If you have giraffes wild or tame near your home, be sure they're not shaking their heads frequently, as it is the first sign of the spider egg laying having occurred. If your giraffes have ears infested with spider eggs, the time will come. They will hatch, and the giraffe's head shaking will deposit tiny hatchlings all around and throughout your home. Oh,
Gross. I'm glad we haven't got a giraffe.
Do you have any spiders to smell?
no. There's a latrine
didn't
way
smell
up
nothing.
high by the doctor.
Yeah, smell
There's
it.
there's a chamber pot way up there.
Speak loudly. I'm up high. Okay. Hello up there.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
sure.
Well, how's the job going? Have you found any spiders?
Nice view from up here, but yeah, that's about it.
Oh, he's not much of a converser.
No, it's not. It's not.
You're supposed to go Hey, buddy! How's the weather up there?
Oh yeah, I forgot. What's a poppin'?
Oh, yeah, what's a peppin'?
He's
Yeah,
not
Tiny
looking for
qualms. In a far-off kingdom, a rotten king reigned supreme. He was known to frequently decide he had been slighted and place people in prison to be punished, or worse. The king unexpectedly ordered a particularly complicated feast from his chef Arthur in the middle of the night. The chef and the kitchen staff worked frantically, as tired as they were, to create this culinary masterpiece. The feast was a triumph, and the king later sent word to see if he may speak with the chef. Word arrived very early in the morning. The king would be to the kitchens within the hour, and the kitchen staff readied themselves for his visit. The king arrived with his guards and quietly toured the kitchens as he thoroughly inspected many of their things. Nothing was said, however, and the king looked at his guards as he approached the exit and nodded. The king's guards proceeded to destroy the kitchens, pots and pans and kitchen tools. The guards turned to the chef and told him, "The king would like you to know he's displeased with last night's feast. You forgot to serve sea salt instead of salt with his meal." The chef was aghast. He knew he had served sea salt, as he had prepared it himself. He only said "I" before he was cut off, and he was told he was removed from the king's staff, and he would be placed in prison to await further punishment. The king felt assured mistakes would no longer be made in his kitchen, and as a test, a few weeks later, he had a new feast prepared for the opening of the king's tournament, at the end of which a victorious knight stood remaining. The king was so unhappy he felt he was slighted again, and that his favorite knight did not win, that he rushed the entrant, dagger in hand. The entrant flicked away the dagger and gave the king what was intended for the entrant. The king now removed from life and power, the entrant made their way to the throne and was seated. The shocked crowd dropped the facade of reverence for the old king and warmly cheered a new powerful leader. The guards, also shocked, but no longer hiding their contempt for the rotten king, said, "All hail the new king!" To which the entrant removed their helmet and said, "Queen." "All hail the new queen," the guards said. "What would you have us do, your majesty?" they asked. "Firstly bring me Arthur, the chef from the prisons." Arthur approached the new queen and quietly asked, "Daughter, what has happened? And are those my pots and pans you are wearing?" "It's time to explain it all," she said. "They sent them to me from the blacksmith shop for repair. You see, they did not know I was your daughter." She smiled pleasantly at her father as they waved toward the crowd over the tournament field and the cold, dead body of the former king. "You always said your pots and pans would bring us good fortune, father. You just didn't know how right you were," she said.
Well, it sounds like us, wrongly accused for something we did not do.
Yeah. I was a cook in prison.
The cycle continues. You were a chef.
Also? Yeah, that's a
Yep.
good point. I thought this was going to be the Genghis Khan exhibit, but I guess that's a later, right?
No. No, we haven't got that exhibit ready yet.
Oh, okay.
As we go into the next chamber, please do not be alarmed. There is a fire, but we will escort you in case the building does catch on fire to the nearest exit.
It's only an imaginary fire.
What? Quino, you smell a fire?
No.
That's good. It's good. I think you're fine. Smelling a fire is the first sign, you know.
Is it? I smelled cigars earlier.
Oh,
what does that
no.
mean?
Something terrible. On a roasting hot desert island, it rarely rained. House fires were happening very frequently. To help combat the fires, the residents used what they had to craft 2 fire carts. These carts, each pulled by the best rhinosaur that the island could breed, were filled with water and pulled location to location. Raspberry the monkey, found wandering an island used as turtle habitat, was a pet of the head of the fire cart haulers. Out on one of their first patrols, they discovered something unusual. Raspberry had been trained to pull a cart. They decided that given his constant insistence that he handed the reins, Raspberry would be trained to drive the rhinosaur of cart number 2. This worked more than well. Raspberry was already a complete natural at cart handling, needing no instruction at all. They even crafted a small seat just for him. This allowed the others to focus more on the fires. Months passed, and the carts raced to fire after fire, Raspberry excitedly guiding the cart all the way. Afternoon, after a particularly difficult morning of fighting a long series of fires, the bell rang again. It was time to ready the carts, and Raspberry could not be located this time. The head of the fire cart haulers went to Raspberry's room and found the monkey asleep in bed. Knowing the poor creature must be exhausted after the morning that they had, they had another member of the fire cart haulers pull the reins. They left without poor tired Raspberry and headed to the fire. Along the way, they spotted an unreported house fire, and they slowed cart number 2 to water the fires before catching back up to cart number 1. While spraying the house, the front door burst open, and a soaking wet Raspberry, extinguished torch in hand, emerged, not believing that Raspberry could be both asleep and at the scene of the fire. His bed was checked. Neatly shaped and arranged was a pair of trousers made to look like a sleeping monkey. You see, Raspberry was wise at a great many things, like cart hauling and deception. Those were some of his greatest talents. He was returned to the offices at the Turtle Sanctuary where he was found to retire from his very busy life. The fire stopped overnight, and the fire cart haulers were quiet until one afternoon a flare was fired and a representative of a neighboring island arrived. They wanted advice on fire carts, for they had been plagued with fires recently. They also needed a small seat in the front, as they had the oddest thing, a monkey who knew how to drive a cart.
What the balls?
Can't trust monkeys. Can't, no.
May we inspect the cart? I already inspected the cart, but may we approach?
Yes, you can look at the cart.
Your Honor? Quinoa, ask him about your theory on wheels in a joint.
Oh, yeah, I noticed actually. You have like buckets for wheels here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a display, you'll see.
You think the bucket or the wheel came first?
Oh. It's hard to say for sure.
So, if the bucket came first, that's technically a wheel.
But I think the cow came first because nobody had the buckets.
Did the chicken or the egg come first? Bucket or the wheel? Here you go inside the house. This is the house you lived in.
So did they ever have
I wanna
any
sniff,
theories as to why this
Yeah,
monkey was
you
lying on
move.
his
I
fire?
can get out. You move.
You move.
The monkey
Hey,
walked.
you move.
Why the monkey was
You
lying
can
on
just sniff around me. It's a fine. Just let me out.
No, it smells
Don't
like shit.
push me in
You
here.
smell
Buddy,
horrible.
Come on, let me out. Okay, come on. Damn.
They're kind of loud.
Yeah, that fire ain't real.
Tansy, you want to repeat your question and see if we can answer it?
Sure, yes.
Oh, I was just wondering if they had any theories about why the monkey was starting fires.
No. We're not really positive. It seems like Raspberry had some sort of... In order to get active and be able to pull the reins and draw the cart, maybe Raspberry was creating the fires?
Yes, he does have a charcoal tip on his tail there.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that Santa Claus?
No, that's the head of the fire cart haulers.
Oh, I mean, he's on the roof. He's trying to go down like a burning chimney, so I didn't know.
Yeah, that monkey was born rotten.
You think potatoes like that?
I think... No, not potato, but I do think Adam was born something else.
Oh, this is not a tavern filled with delicious libations. In fact, if you had been here 50 years ago, you'd be dead. It wasn't unusual a long time ago to place additives into your spirits to give them an interesting afternote, be it bitter, sweet, or bittersweet. It was an unusually crowded evening the night before and would be again at a combination inn and tavern. The tavern keep was too busy to go for the ingredients for a top note to add to the drink for the next evening. The tavern keep's sibling was sent to pick up the rare, delicious, green sweet ingredient, Magistine. The herbologist, however, was also out, and in their stead the apprentice herbologist was working. The assistant herbologist mistook the requested Magistine for the more common pest remover, maggot stem, nearly identical in both appearance and flavor. Coupled with the unfortunate similarity in name, the switch was made. The maggot stem was delivered to the tavern and used to give the tavern's libations their signature smooth sweetness. As is custom with a spirit house attached to overnight accommodations, the drink poured heavily and quickly. The hallucinations began an hour into the evening. The vomiting began shortly thereafter. Ingestion of maggot stem is said to produce hallucinations such as liquid running down the walls, inanimate objects breathing, skies filled with flying animals, and the mistaking of human form for animal. The chaos of the visions, coupled with the vomiting, began a putrid battle inside the tavern where each fought for their own life. Any who made it outside were driven back inside by the visions they saw in the skies. Those victors who survived the vomitous battle were said to have laid unconscious on these very floorboards until their heart slowed to death.
Yeah, speaking of a vomit and a visions and a stuff, Quinoa, can you shut your robe? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking
Please.
about?
Just stand up, please.
Thank you.
Is that a hospital robe?
Oh,
So if you need to throw up on, these are the floors to throw up on.
No, don't.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason
Well, I
that
mean,
they're
you know.
green.
I'll keep it in mind, because who knows what, if there's like a ladder portion and Quinoa goes up at first, I'm gonna need to use the freaking,
Look behind you.
freaking floors. I know. I was worried.
something wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with you, but the parts that are right are all on display with everything else. So
Nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Just
I know. No, we don't need to have like a discussion about it and this stuff. You just keep your bits in your butts, and I'll keep my face in my
yeah, don't look at it then.
face.
Just
I'm trying.
Keeping your face in your face. If you've been to a hot, humid, tropical island, you know all too well the heat can be unrelenting. Two elderly brothers were looking for their lost goats near their home when they stumbled upon something, a very large abandoned well.
oh,
Why
no.
every time?
Elias, we got a person in the
I fell
exhibit.
into the.
That one in the well exhibit. Oh,
I think the water's contaminated
he's dead.
now.
Ah,
Well, that's it then.
it's trying
I
to
can keep
hide
him.
Easy yours now. Elias!
us. He's using the dive.
hey, so I like to let you know that these new shoes I got do not allow me to do some things. What?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
How do I get?
Use your robe as a parachute
guess
as
so.
you drop in.
I'll go
Catch the
get
wind.
Elias.
Well, that works.
Oh, yeah, someone fell in the well.
Help!
Elias, we have one in the well, please.
Oh, you son of a
Oh
bitch.
no!
There's two in
Oh,
now.
I thought that would pull me up to you.
And you smack them up here so they're not down there anymore.
Help.
They think they live here now.
Yeah, good.
Son
You
of
get
a-
a keep from.
I've cried out loud. I can't even look either.
Just use the ladder. Just step off the ladder when you're halfway up. It'll be fine.
Can't go up the ladder right now. He's up there
Yeah,
first.
I'd like to cash in on the insurance and stuff for both of them, because, you know, they're dead.
Hydrogen is not responsible for any all incidents.
Oh, it's not that I'm not the only one having a problem here.
Nope, it's not the only one. What's the fear?
Just this way. Just step off the ladder this way. What you doing over there? Oh, here you go. All right, now you got it. Look at that, you're both
Oh, wow.
Phew.
Oh, you're fine. Let's introduce you to this display.
Most
Alright.
dangerous
Do the
display.
museum.
Award goes to this award.
Have you thought about like, some fencing?
No,
Yeah.
that'll
Don't
block
worry,
the
you
view.
guys. Yeah.
Fencing blocks the view of the well. We don't want to do that. We'll have complaints. We don't want complaints here.
You don't want people following either.
No, that's... Shh.
I mean, I think most people
Yeah.
will just know not to get so close.
You should have heeded the warnings.
Yeah, I thought, where's Elias? I thought he was supposed to be here to make sure this didn't happen.
We made sure you're out now.
Boy of the month.
Yes, a boy of the month. The two
You
elderly
forgot to
brothers...
sniff it while you were down there.
Oh.
Sorry. I think we're just gonna start talking. I'll shut up.
No,
Okay. It's
no.
back in there. Probably smells like a wet, like a dog.
Oh, there's
water.
a rug in it, too. Move some of the water out of the way.
disgusting.
I don't
Splash,
know.
splash.
He'll have to go into quarantine now for that.
Oh, he'll be fine.
Is there like a band list?
B, I think we need to start one.
Oh, excuse me.
Everything's fine.
Nobody look at.
Oof. Elias is here to protect the displays.
Okay.
Part of his job.
And actually, this smells very similar to the cheese.
Alright, well, there might be a reason for that. We'll get to it. Ah, there you go,
There you
Elias.
go. Yes. If anybody gets too close, Elias will bump you over to the next exhibit.
Bump you on. I don't want to have to put up stanchions to keep you at bay. Just
I'll just sit in the chair over here.
No. Okay.
Everybody's got their spyglass out, getting ready.
alright, now we're ready. The two brothers were looking for their lost goat near their home when they stumbled upon something, a very large abandoned well. The well had run low of water, but inside had a beautiful pool at the bottom. The brothers knelt beside the well lid above, and when they opened it, they could feel the cool, refreshing air blow past them. They thought about and discussed the well the remainder of that day and night. They awoke the next day with a plan. They would put a ladder into the well to see what was down inside. They slipped off of the final ladder rung into the cool, dark water and enjoyed the most luxuriously pleasant, soaking neck-high, perfectly chilled water. The water drained a bit more over time, and instead of floating, they now had to kneel or sit on the bottom of the well. This did not suit their aging frames, and they began to talk once again of a plan. It was decided to make the well a bit more comfortable. They moved in some furniture, using ropes and the goat, who was found in time, to lower some things down from the hatch above. This would be their final plan. Their friend, who knew of the well and having not seen the brothers for some time, began to worry and look for them. When they approached the well, they could already tell something was wrong. The scent of mold and mildew and the end of life met their friend well before they got to the well. For you see, as they were soaking in the cool, damp richness of the well, the furniture was as well. The introduction of the furniture began a growth of mold and mildew and rot that first tainted the well and then outright poisoned it. As the furniture was slowly mildewing and molding from the outside, the cool, damp, dark backs of the chairs were growing a deadly fungus. Before that fungus was discovered, it had already started to emit toxic spores, which filled the well and the two elderly brothers.
So I have a question. So first off, I'm allergic to several of things, and I get a sneezes. Second off, I'd like to point out there is currently furniture in the water right now. Are there not the spores?
No, that's... If you look at that furniture, it appears to be molding and mildewing, but that's all a diversion. We have painted that furniture. We painted it very, very well, so that it's not prone to molding and mildewing and such, and things like the rug. That's just painted to look like a rug. It's a rug that looks like a rug.
Yeah, but it's still the furniture in the water and stuff.
No.
Eventually, will it mold and mildew?
No, it'll be fine. We take it out periodically, make sure everything's fine. We do inspections, the whole like, so you don't have anything to worry about here.
There's more ventilation too.
This is why you filter your water 3 times.
Now, this is not an enclosed well like the brothers had. You can see there's a nice opening here where the air can circulate and get in there and make sure nothing nefarious is growing.
Okay. Just a checking, you gotta ask these questions, because the Quinoa just got a whole nose full.
Sure. Management not responsible for any and all incidents here. Yeah. Alright, this one over here.
Which? Okay, this one?
Yeah,
Interesting chair.
it's all beneath a beautiful country estate. Lie a strange fate for those unfortunate enough to have encountered a pair of mad, noble women. They had a secret, which would have run the blood cold of those in the aristocratic circles they kept themselves in. The mad women had developed an unusual diet preference. Human toenails. Half-hearted soldier, drunken sailor, sea wench, they were all preyed upon. They went into the dark night to round up their victims. They would wait outside tavern and dance hall for those victims inebriated enough not to put up a fight. A bag over their head, about 6 spins around, was enough to knock even the stoutest person unconscious when they'd been plied with enough drink. They would be locked into the chambers on each side of me here, their feet scrubbed, cleaned, and their toenails trimmed, so as not to waste any of that most precious resource. I know what you're wondering. Why did they not just pull the toenails out at the root? After all, it's the sensible thing to do. Well, the sisters weren't monsters, you see. They were just hungry. They were very hungry. Each victim awakened dumped on the outskirts town shoeless, sockless, pants rolled all the way to the knee, but their feet were beautifully scrubbed, and their toenails had been perfectly trimmed. The sisters were caught when they mistook a pair of sleepy officers for inebriated, and they were overcome by them. Threatening with having their toenails pulled out at the root. It is a sensible thing to do. The sisters confessed the entire ruse. Afterward, they fell from grace and out of high society. They took on new identities, but they began to work at a wash house, trimming the nails of those who came to bathe, thereby continuing the ability to feed their insane, insatiable hunger.
Yeah, the town of 5 Torches is going to have a nail salon if Kanoa is going to open one.
I have a question.
What's that?
Did the sisters were they making toenail soup?
There's a possibility. I think they made a variety of different things, some baked goods.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. It's quite a delicacy. You gotta get the toenails just right.
Has like
Is that why I woke up with
gelatin in it.
Oh, I don't cook it. It's just a delicacy I had when I was in Fishy Poshy.
Oh, you cook it down and you get some of the...
Are your feet okay? Because, I mean, you don't remember.
What? No, I think
Have you checked your feet?
The doc checked out my feet and stuff. Actually, 2 doctors checked out my feet. That was kind of weird. I don't know.
That's suspicious.
Yeah.
You
Are they
feed
2
2
women?
doctor. That makes sense.
Are they all, like, cleaned and trimmed?
No, I think they look normal. I mean,
Okay, just
all of
checking.
it was. I think I got a sponge bath, but I don't know.
I mean,
for
it was
sure,
just
but
a
I'm
very
gonna
familiar
assume.
story. They waking up,
What, you had a sponge bath while
Missing
you
the
were in the
shoes.
hospital?
I don't know. I was unconscious, but I woke up in a clothes and a clean and stuff, but they were not in my clothes, so.
Do you remember getting spun 6 times?
No, but shortly after the opium, everything was a spinning.
Alright. If we're ready, we'll move on to the next exhibit.
Okay. What the balls is this?
I knew beautiful island Freeport was too close to the deep water ocean trench. The frequent ship traffic to and from the island angered the residents of the deepest waters. Many different creatures made their way from the depths to investigate the new disturbance, as the swirling waters mixed new warmer water deep into the formerly cool trench, as well as introducing new types of detritus into the depths. Mermaids from the trench seemed to grow much angrier, becoming a constant menacing presence in the water to teach citizens defensive tactics to protect themselves against the angry mermaids, as well as to ensure people would not fear nearing the profitable Freeport. The Freeport opened a training institute just off the shore. Seen before you are the standard issue training form, as well as, right beside me, the specialized mermaid training form developed at the Institute. Normally housed in deeper water, this was used to teach citizens techniques to avoid or defend against angry mermaids. The mermaids seemed to realize something was occurring at the Freeport and really began to increase their violence. Eventually, they began to investigate the Institute itself, making their way to the shoreside where the training forms were stationed. Instead of damaging the training forms, the mermaids began to study them, possibly believing them to be figures in reverence of themselves. It is believed that they took this as a sign the mermaid was a respected neighbor, and led them to stop their attacks completely. Unintentionally, the forms did work to protect the citizens. No one trained to defend themselves ever had to, and the mermaid forms were left in the water as a sign of continued mutual respect. Luckily for the Freeport, the mermaids had not witnessed the defensive techniques used on these forms.
So, I saw this one in a prison, but I have not seen that one before. Can we buy like that version?
Not this one itself. You may be able to get one from that Freeport that had them. I'm not positive which Freeport it came from, though.
Okay. I guess I'll keep an eye out.
You have trouble with the mermaids at your port?
No, actually, I've never had a mermaid trouble at all, but...
Well, that's good. You may not need a mermaid defensive. I don't know.
Well, you know, I was thinking about getting one of these, you know, like a you know, pop, you know, kind of fighting it and stuff, but, you know, maybe a taller one, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, the mermaid is much taller than you think. It's because they're in the water. They don't look as tall. You can't really tell how tall they are at all. Alright, are we ready for the next exhibit?
I'm pretty sure all of us have been ready for this one specifically for quite a while, but you're right.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
Well, a skilled blacksmith made a fortune on board a ship, repairing the broken old wood stoves of a frozen polar region. A fortune that he intended to keep. Looking around his ship one day, he realized he had a dozen wood stoves that no one claimed after they were repaired. Needing to both remove the extra weight from the ship and also find a more suitable place to keep his treasure safe, he left the polar region for his home on a warm elephant island. He owned a small piece of that island that included a swamp. The swamp was home to many horrendous beasts, the least of which were endless amounts of spiders. He knew the perfect location for a hideaway for his treasure trove was a well-hidden cavern on the edge of the swamp. You would never see it unless you were falling into it. Covered in vines and growth, it was the perfect place, except it was home to thousands of very fast spiders. But he knew spiders feared one thing above all others, a larger, faster spider. To attempt to stop the spiders from living in the cavern, as well as to add an additional shock should any unfortunate soul stumble into the caverns, He carted those old forgotten wood stoves down into the darkened mouth of the cave to create this monstrosity seen before you, welding the stoves together and carving a stone plinth from the cavern rock itself. He successfully created a spider to frighten all spiders, and the other spiders fled in fear, leaving him the freedom to place his treasure deep into the now delightfully spider-free cavern. He went back to making more and more treasures, and he readied himself for a return to his cave. Upon his return to the island, he was looking forward to the spiderless cavern after he had fought his way through many of them in the swamps. He arrived at the cavern to find it was filled with elephants, bursting at the seams with elephants that chased him away from the entrance all the way back to his ship over and over and over. For you see, the only thing keeping the elephants out of the cavern were the spiders, and the only thing luring them into the cavern was the new multiple-armed scratching post someone had placed there for them to use.
Hey, Bogger.
Better to rule them all.
That's next on the tour, so
It's time for refreshments now. Around the corner. Everyone's hungry. They're about to be sick.
Yeah. Just, yeah, 1 sec.
Right here.
popcorn, get your popcorn right here.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. There's
Popcorn.
tubs and barrels here.
Oh, she's hungry.
Is this?
What do you do?
I think
I'm
I
pretty
forgot.
sure we could use this for.
You need some other stuff? I've got a couple of snacks on me.
Agree.
Nope, these refreshments, did the thing.
What's up, snacks? Wait, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's snacks there if you want
Popcorn,
them.
get your popcorn,
Oh.
popcorn.
Tansy made that popcorn special for our tours. It's fresh today.
Did you say it's a fresh to death? I'm not looking to
Ow!
death.
Fresh
Dude.
today. Freshly
I
made.
got kernel. I can't. I got kernel.
Right.
Management not responsible for any hauling.
Keep your fingers out of there, gross.
Yeah, your tooth.
So I got this. I got this. Open up.
Lean down.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, that's why
Oh.
that guard in the prison only has 13 teeth.
Ooh,
We'll see the dentist here in a minute for that.
sure, we'll have a dentist.
Yeah, well, it's kernels in there. So,
Yes, we got a dentist.
you know, you can you can pop popcorn and hot salt. You know that?
Hot salt.
Okay,
Yeah, just like a bunch of salt, and you heat it up, and you put the kernels in there. And
Oh,
they
that's for
pop.
that's for Tansy to know.
yeah.
If you're, wait, hold on. If you're heating up a salt, can't you just heat up the kernels?
Ooh, listen to that.
When the salt gets hot, and then it pops, and it flavors the corn and the salt.
But wouldn't it taste so
Okay,
much
sure.
better if it had some swift butter?
Is that what's on this, Jim?
No, but we should perfect the recipe a little bit. Let's add some swift to it.
You add some truffle
no.
oil.
You don't want people to try the swilk before they get a chance to try the swilk. You don't want to give people too much.
Okay,
swilk.
we're going to the next exhibit. Please do not reach inside the exhibit that we're going to pass here.
Over here. Way over
This
here
way?
is the next exhibit.
Is this an organ?
Yes. Here is what was once a beautiful, marvelous circus organ. This organ was a modern wonder, needing no one to play it and having no keys at all. It produced sound through steam, with a series of reused water and stovepipes, and could play the most beautiful melodies. It was pulled on 3 carts behind 3 elephants as the circus parade arrived in the towns. Playing all the while, it let the residents know the circus was arriving. The circus fell to ruin after the death of the ringmaster and owner. The ringmaster was thrown higher than the high wire act one evening by a pair of elephants looking to escape the circus life. The audience, seeing this tragedy unfold, sent out warnings to all they knew. Avoid the circus at all risk of peril. The organ was purchased at auction of items from a circus by a group of ne'er-do-wells with a plan. They would travel with this reassembled pipe organ port to port, playing friendly melodies for tips throughout the day. They would quieten as the shops closed and the people returned to their neighboring homes. Then in the late hours of the evening, they would stoke the fires of the steam heaters until they were raging. The beautiful music produced with gentle steam pressure became a howling, screeching, languorous noise. This caused the residents to flee their homes in terror, and the horses and animals battered their stalls, not knowing what beast was capable of such noise. The ne'er-do-wells would slow the fires eventually, only to issue this proclamation. The fires would be stoked repeatedly until the township was able to come up with a predetermined fee to pay the ne'er-do-wells to leave the port in peace. The ne'er-do-wells landed in a port as usual one afternoon. They played the beautiful music until the shops closed and the residents began to leave. They waited and went to the box on the top deck to get the wood for the fires. In the darkened port, instead of the residents being quietly asleep, the entire town was standing row after row, lining the harbor, staring directly at the vessel. The water was already flowing into the ship by the time the ne'er-do-wells could react. You see, the residents had been made aware of the approaching ship 2 days prior, and they had already formed a nice plan of their own. The pipe organ was dismantled by them and trod upon, resulting in these warped, discolored remaining pipes that you see here before you today.
Let me ask you this. You say this is the grand opening, so no one else has seen this exhibit yet?
Now we had one more tour group come through. Just before the Go Postal people were the first.
Yeah, that's fine. So they're the only people who have seen this exhibit, right? And they're the only people probably who have heard about this, like a, you know, bringing in the organ and playing the music and stuff, and then like a ransom and a junk.
No, there were 2 other people that were here earlier today. They took the tour with them. They just showed up randomly.
You know where they're from? Just checking.
I don't know where they're from, actually.
Okay. Well, you know, there's a lot of
C5, I
ports. What
think.
are the chances?
There's
Let's see.
yeah,
C5,
C5.
perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Was that all the questions that you had?
Yep, that was it. You know, I just, you know, it's such a special event and stuff. I wanted to, you know, like see who we could share this with, you know, and like,
Yes.
you know, like a brotherhood of a museum goers and stuff, you know.
The people who've heard the warnings. You just want to know who else has been warned, I see. Sure. Well, it gives people things they can talk about with each other. You know, you can start a nice conversation with someone who's seen what you've seen. Yes, I understand.
Right.
It's very wise
Yeah,
of you.
you know. There's probably a lot of people who haven't heard about all these events and stuff, and they're probably going to hear about them pretty soon, so, yeah, that's true.
Eventually.
Hear the warnings. Stay for the stories.
All right. Any other questions on this exhibit before we head to the next one?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, right this way.
Careful,
Which way
everyone.
next? Be careful, don't fall into the grave.
Careful. Stand by the grave. Don't.
Careful. Don't want to have to call Elias back again. Below us here lies the coffin of the final husband of the widow of Shallow Creek. She was called the widow because she had buried 12 husbands, 11 of whom were deceased.
Sounds like a quinoa.
She begged for help from the townspeople, as she said she was being haunted by the vengeful ghost of her most recent husband. The widows of the town tried to help her and formed a group which would sit in her home as the widow tried to get some rest. It was a quick rotation, for you see they all eventually stared straight again into the eyes of the man they used to know. Each night someone sat with her. Just before the skies began to lighten, there was a shuffling behind them. One after another, widows fled the still darkened, creaking home. Once that group was exhausted, the widow still pleaded for help. The young single men were sent next, as they were thought to be less prone to fright. It was the same story, however. They all ran for their lives after gazing into the eyes of the dead man once again. The oldest woman in town, felt far too frail, asked, "May I go next?" She sat slumped. She sat slumped forward next to the warm fire in the chair, her eyes closed, her back to the room, when the ghost appeared. His long bony fingers reaching, clawing, slid up over the back of the chair and around the woman's frail, thin neck. From outside the home, a blood-curdling scream that chased the wolves back to their dens was cut short. The townsfolk worried for that poor frail lady, but humoring her, had their ears open in case she called. A number of them reached the steps of the cabin at the same time. They clambered to the front door, flinging it open. Standing tall over two bodies was the frail old woman. You see, what no one realized was that the oldest woman in town was also the wisest. Unable to sleep well in the cold nights due to her old bones, she slept during the warm daylight hours. Every night she watched the dead husband of the widow of Shallow Creek creep into house after house throughout the town. For you see, as people to sit with the terrified widow, her very much alive husband was looting their houses and then returning later to show his wife what he had stolen while the townspeople were trying to help. The oldest woman, however, went prepared, rolling pin in her sleeve, to expose the ruse of the widow of Shallow Creek.
You okay?
I've got a.
You having like a flashbacks?
Who?
What? Yeah, you said the oldest woman, and then it sounded like you were having like a trouble. You having like a flashbacks? You thinking about oldness?
It's hard for me to pretend to be old, so it takes time to get into character and everything. It really takes the wind out of you to try to pretend, you know? It's not easy.
Yeah, that's true. I could never pretend.
uh-oh.
It's difficult. Yeah.
Just making
You
sure.
said that she had 12 husbands and buried. Buried 12 husbands, 11 of them deceased.
Yeah, she buried 12 husbands, 11 of whom were deceased. You see that final husband? He never actually got buried. They just pretended that was the ruse. He never actually. Yeah. Now you're
I
thinking.
thought they buried him alive. Sorry.
No. He was never dead to begin with. That was part of the ruse. They tricked the whole town.
But if you're ever buried alive, always have like an emergency bell in the coffin so you can ring it.
Make sure you're buried with a bell. Yeah, you can. That way you can be heard underground.
No, can you make bells?
No.
Yeah. I'll find a bell.
There's one right there on the post.
No, you can't have that bell as part of the display.
I'll use one of the big ones, like the ship ones.
Sure, you can take that with you. You have to have a larger.
You'd be buried with that whole thing? What the balls?
I mean, yeah.
Surface area to cover.
Yeah, you're gonna be in a huge box. Like what? Like a
Well, I
mausoleum,
mean, if I'm not dead, that would be quite a luxury.
Can you be buried in the bell? Just stuffed in the bell and buried. Maybe.
There you go. That's efficiency, that is.
Yeah, didn't we have cousins that were in the stuffing business?
No, we didn't. We had cousins who were in the ice cream sales business.
Oh yeah, those fruit cakes.
What the?
I don't think you can use that word.
And some sort of ice cream sales. Deep in a prison lie a cold, dark, windowless cell. A guard routinely traversed the corridors. One prisoner they hadn't planned on having and didn't know the history of was a magician, trained in the art of lock-picking. Picking the lock came easily enough, but getting out of the area proved more difficult, as the cell was at the end of a long U-shaped corridor. The prisoner had nothing but time to plan, however, as they sat in waiting, day in, day out. They watched the guards, and they finally thought of their plan. The guards always took the same pathway, through the loop, and they realized they could never go toward the guard or they'd be seen. But if they could go ahead of the guard, they may just make it out ahead of them. One problem, though, was their bed would surely be found empty, as they were on their way toward the exit and freedom, causing the guard to raise the alarm bell.
What the birds?
Oh, wow.
Yes, in an effort to fool the guards, they began to put away slices of bread and sausages in their pillowcase. This plan was nearly ruined twice on unplanned laundry days. They had to gorge themselves on the food that they had stashed away. But finally, a dark, moonless night came, dark enough for the plan to work. They neatly arranged the old bits of bread and sausage to form a vague figure, just enough so that the guards could see a body in the bed and give them time to slip away. The plan went very smoothly, and the prisoner escaped perfectly. The guards eventually discovered this ruse, and knowing the head of the guards and knowing what the hell he had to do now, they sat down for a most unwanted feast.
Gross.
It's just old sausages and old moldy bread.
It's people.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. There was no people involved.
Plus, it's in dirty laundry because it hasn't been laundry day in it recently.
Oh no, not
Yeah.
laundry.
Oh no.
The plague that follows us forever.
Dirty laundry. That's, yeah, unplanned laundry day. It happens.
Dirty laundry and the Dunder Chief and the stuff. Yep.
This one's about me, isn't it? It's like me above.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you are, old maid.
In a remote cabin, something unusual happened. The owner of the cabin grew older and more tired as the years were catching up to him.
Yeah.
He thought he needed to bring vigor back to his life. He found a place where he could, for a price, order a tincture, promising to bring just that to him. He placed the order, gave his address, and was told, "Wait 6 nights, and you'll hear a loud bang at the door." He wasn't to look out for the courier, however. He was only to quietly wait for the 6th night. On the arranged night, he sat patiently waiting. A loud bang was heard at the darkest portion of that night. Nearly jumping out of his body, he realized only then he was a bit stronger still than he realized. He waited a moment and opened the door to retrieve the package bound in hides and tied to a large stone. He thought the bottle was unusually shiny until he realized a portion of the shine was coming from inside the bottle. He swirled that bottle through his fingers and stared at the cork top. He thought of his plan and he glanced up at the portrait of his loved one. He realized that the bottle may hold more than he bargained for. What if this turned back his aging? What if it stopped his aging completely? Could he decide when he was through this powerful elixir? He sighed and he realized, now that he held the power in his hand, what he missed was not his youth. It was that part of his youth that was not coming back. Angry mostly at himself, he flung the bottle into the fireplace, coating the back of it. The fireplace grew into and roared like a tiger and spit flames across the room, eventually settling back into a normal fireplace once again. He wondered what magic was in that tincture, and he vowed to himself he would never again try to recapture that which was meant to be left in the past.
Yep.
Oh.
So, you think you get one of those?
One what? A fireplace?
One of those tinctures?
No. This one's just a replication. The original was shattered against the back of the fireplace, but
Imagine,
somewhere.
yeah, imagine if we could get one. You know, we could
Yeah.
put it on the ship. Imagine
Somewhere
how
out
fast
there.
that ship
yeah.
would freaking go.
Somewhere out there, there's this magical tincture that's floating around on the seas, but we don't have an actual bottle of it ourselves. However, it could still be out there somewhere. You just keep your eyes open for it.
Yeah, I'll send a bait to look for it.
Elias!
But no, you're not ready yet.
Dave.
You're not ready yet.
Ah, dang.
He's free. He set himself free, Elias. We're sorry.
Where is he at? What is this boy?
You want me to punch his lights out? I can take him out right now.
God, I might fall in here too. Oh no.
What the balls?
He's been Kelly Mod.
Here before you lies the interior of the city offices of the Butcher of Butterfly Lane, as he was
Here
later known.
before me lies you.
That's true. Shown on the table here beside me are the actual repurposed tools that he used. Fancying himself a dentist, he was able to convince the local populace that he was legitimate. Using a plant known for hallucinogenic properties, he was able to cause patients to, in essence, mentally leave their body while lying on the bed here. He would then remove all of the teeth of the victim, promising only repairs to the teeth. Hello. Everything all right over there?
Yeah, we're gonna punch Quinoa's lights out.
Oh. Whoa. The clockwork may do it. It's hard to say. Clockwork gets very angry sometimes. It's wound a little tight at the moment.
It's got to stick up its ass.
You would promise repairs to the teeth, but it was so much easier to convince them afterward that all their teeth were found bad, and therefore no work which he could not do to repair the teeth need be performed. You see, human teeth were a prized and highly valued form of carotenoid, similar to bone but with a much sturdier structure, once they had been refined properly. The fraudulent dentist would leave his office early in the day, and that was thought odd by the community, considering how many of them desperately needed his dental work. He had a nefarious reason for always leaving early. You see, he was tainting the water supply in the town with ground-up squid innards. Those innards still contained a powerful acid that the squid used to break down sharp shells that it ingests in its feeding cycle. And even once ground up and dispersed, those innards still had enough acid quality to weaken the teeth of the city dwellers to the point they all needed dental work, and thereby supplying the fraudulent dentist the teeth that he so desperately needed.
What the balls? Oh crap, it's moving!
Moves around pretty frequently. It doesn't always move when you're not looking at it, so don't worry.
Uh-huh.
And we did acquire some of the teeth from for the exhibit. It's right here in the box if anybody wants to examine the few teeth.
I believe Mr. Quinoa lost a tooth earlier on the popcorn. If you'll give him one of those old discarded teeth, he can put it back in to replace the one that's missing.
Yes, Mr. Konoha, if you want to grab one of those teeth and lay right there on the
Any
table.
glue?
you could just eat them.
If you put it in the place of the old tooth and then you bite down really hard, it should pop it back in where the old
yeah,
tooth
just
is
lay
today.
right there and
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, this should be good. Yeah, I was trying to figure it out earlier. Uh-huh.
I could always hammer it in.
Why do you lay on?
Oh, it's a little slippy on the top. There, I think it's... There you go. Now it's back in. All right.
Is it in?
I believe so.
What have you?
God! Why?
I guess so. But you're gonna be following it a little bit.
That sounds fine.
Let's have a look. Oof, that's... It's a bit bigger than the rest of his teeth.
Well, it's all right. That'll
It's-
push
it's
it down in
jammed-
there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
jammed in between the other two. It'll be fine.
it'll wear down over time. Yes.
Yeah, you want to wear the top down to suit your natural palate. You don't want a tooth that's all small and it won't wear down properly.
I guess. I dare you to jump in.
No.
I'm not going to do it.
I was whispering that.
A packed cargo freighter named the Sea Slicer sailed through a fog-shrouded sea. It lurched high and low in the sea, crates groaning at its sides. On board amongst the crew stood a mere deckhand. As the ship passed through a shimmer, a mysterious event occurred. Every person, in fact every creature everywhere, disappeared, except for the deckhand. Calling out for anyone else, he realized he was totally alone. In fear for the crates, the contents, and the ship itself, the deckhand began to panic. He didn't understand the workings of the ship enough to get the ship under control. And without a crew to pull the sails and manage the ship's wheels, it seemed like a task he could not accomplish. Hello? Help! He pleaded. His plea was heard by the only other thing that inhabited the world. The figure stood just before him on the other side of the cabin door. But he could immediately tell the figure was not human. It had no facial features. In fact, it really didn't have any features at all. The ship careened out of control. Just as the figure reached through the doorway, the ship crashed the shore of a desolate island. The deckhand was thrown overboard into the water just beside the shoreline. While running from ship and figure, the deckhand began to realize he wasn't breathing normally. With every breath he took, it grew shallower and shallower. The farther he made it from the figure, the less he could breathe. The world grew darker and darker until he finally went unconscious. The deckhand awakened to find himself all the way back where the voyage began. But the crew, the ship, and the cargo were never seen again. They say the shimmer figure waits just over the shimmer for its next crew. Will you be the one it spares, or will you never be seen again?
We did have a long discussion with the last group, talking about meeting their future me and.
There's some mysterious things going on at the shimmer. They say that they crossed the shimmer on board a ship, and when they got to the other side, they met a ship full of themselves. The other
What
ship,
the buzz?
on the other ship, they were all asleep. But on the ship that they were on, they were all awake. So we think that the shimmer figure is somehow duplicating figures as they cross the shimmer because it's looking for crew. And the more people, the more crew.
Oh, is that how they
Yes.
get the Navy recruits? Because no one ever wants to join the Navy?
Just jump the shimmer a few times, and before you know it, you've tripled your crew, quadrupled your crew.
What the buzz?
That's what the Navy does. I know it.
Any questions at
yeah,
all?
that's why. Yeah, that's why I don't go to the C3. Something like that would definitely happen in a C3, so I'm not down.
Popcorn, popcorn, get your popcorn.
Popcorn, get your popcorn.
Another snack if you need one. We're almost finished with the tour. We only have 2 oddities left.
Okay, because I sniffed too much and now I gotta poop.
Oh, well, it's alright.
I think it's something, I sniffed something and it just kind of made things gurgle down there. So that's why I stopped, even you notice I stopped sniffing.
It could be, you never know.
Or it could be the popcorn, I'm not sure.
Popcorn, yeah, popcorn that does that to me. Uh-huh.
The story of this printing press began in the polar north. The freighter Frozen Sails was used to deliver supplies to a far-flung polar research base, where the Frozen Institute was located. On the slippery top deck of Frozen Sails, a crew member called out eerily, "Who's there?" They heard voices in the frozen fog, crying. The calling out stopped the other crew in their tracks. Soon enough, they heard it too. Enchanting voices. But they were not calling out in sorrow. They were calling out in song. By the time that the crew could raise the alarm, none of them wanted to any longer. Below deck, a sleeping crew member who was on a late shift was awakened. They were slid out of bed and across the sleeping quarters. Just as the crew member made it halfway out of the topside, the sails, sitting untended, whirled and snapped violently in the wind. The heeling of the ship was so intense, crew members who were not already overboard were dumped overboard. The crew member was awestruck with horror. The crew member had plugged their ears with rolled cotton to stop the loud crew from waking them. They were now oblivious to the sounds coming out of the ocean, but they knew in an instant what was already happening. They were under the attack of the siren's song. The masts, weakened by the whirling, forceful snapping, groaned and gave way. They crashed down through the decks below, severely damaging the hull of the ship. The crew member climbed into a dinghy, lowered it, and looked around. Those nearby were sickeningly diving underwater and swimming down into the now still blue abyss. The survivor rowed and rowed for hours in the frozen waters until they reached land. They staggered onto the frosty shores, called out, and collapsed. They had made it to the island of the Frozen Institute after all, and they would very soon be found. But the same was never said for the Frozen Sails and her crew. They drifted downwards into the darkened depths below. The survivor decided to print a book to tell the tale of that horrendous day. They used the boards from the dinghy that they survived in to make this printing press behind me. It is said that the sea sirens placed a curse on that dinghy because they did not get the chance to clear the ocean completely that day. The now cursed printing press here before you is said to be able to at times call out to those nearby, asking them to climb into its gnashing jaws. It is rumored to have eventually devoured the crew member who created it. And now we wonder, now is it satisfied? Or will it strike again?
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No reaching through. Don't put your hand through it. It's set back a
Yeah,
pretty.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
All right. Well, you never know. People are nosy. People are handsy. They want to put their hands on things. It's pretty dangerous in there. Could
People
call
are
it-
nosy, huh?
Almost touched it.
Uh-huh.
That brings us to our final oddity here today at BoggOdd Oddities Museum.
Okay. What the
Uh,
bars?
In front of you stands Hura, the oddity of Itch Meadow Farm. Born during a hurricane, it is believed that she was born midair, the wrong way around. She has been utterly convinced she is standing the right way up and cannot be corrected. She does not use her hooves. She drags herself along the ground with her horns and wiggles side to side in order to get around. She is able to see the berries on the underside of bushes that the other animals miss. So maybe she's a new adaptation of a species in order to fill a void. Her hooves must be filed down regularly, as she does not wear them down naturally. She produces what her original owners at the farm referred to as wrong way milk, and that it comes out the wrong way around. It is said that by not hanging down into her udders and cooling, that milk is able to stay hotter for a longer amount of time. And it produces a sweeter, more mature milk with a caramel flavor undertone that is prized over regular milk. BoggOdd will give you a sample here today. We call it Swilk here at BoggOdd Oddities Museum, and you're welcome to try a sample yourself.
Step forward and get some swilk.
That's not bad.
That's a lot sweeter than your standard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Wait a
is.
second. Do you have to wash the swim?
No, it does not have to be washed. It's not hanging down at the dirty end of the udder. Instead, it's kept inside the clean part of the cow. So it's not hanging down there where all the nasty stuff is. So, we're able to
It
just...
reminds me of one of my. Never mind.
What?
Well, we're not going to have that discussion of cleaning your milk.
So, is this the part where we tell you which ones we think are fact or fiction?
No.
Thank goodness. I thought he was going to tell us about Sophia.
I think this is definitely fact. I think that happened for sure.
Oh, yes.
This one might be fiction.
No. None of them are fiction. All of
Are you
these
sure? I
items...
thought we were supposed to come here and guess which one's fact.
No.
Too much
It's a museum. It's a museum. It's all true.
Mm-hmm.
So distrusting.
All
Like
of it.
14 truths and 2 lies?
Welcome to tell us which one was your favorite oddity, but you're also welcome to sign the guest book here by BoggOdd.
Oh, I already cited the way we came in. So.
There's also blank letters if you wanted to just kind of write us a letter and we'll accept them at the end.
Do you have postcards?
No, we don't have a postcard, unfortunately. We'll have to get one made with a
Keychains?
nice picture
Yeah, like
on
one
it.
of those little
Ooh,
copper
nice.
things where I put my piece of copper in and it comes out as a souvenir copper coin.
Yes.
The book's in there now.
Someone suggested postcards. We'll have to think of a way of making postcards.
A keychain.
Hmm.
now,
Okay.
Well, that one's definitely fiction. This one didn't happen. This is fiction.
I feel like maybe we shouldn't leave him wandering around in there.
That concludes the tour today at BoggOdd Oddities Museum.
Uh-oh, we lost them all. We're getting ready to lock the doors. Oddities
we were
make...
just talking about,
Hello.
cool
The
stuff.
fiction of this one.
No, there's no fiction. All of it is perfectly unfictionalized.
It's all very believable,
That's correct.
but I feel like just fact or fiction.
No.
It's beyond belief. I can't believe it.
Okay, I still have 2 in the
But
clicker.
I believe it. So,
All right, that's good. Well, we carefully curated these
especially the
objects.
Shiver
as
Man.
well.
I've definitely seen my doppelganger.
There's always a chance out there. Something weird and unusual.
It's like a purgatory in between those zones. You get stuck there. You ever try to go between the X of the 2?
There's a here and a there, and there's a
I always
somewhere
go for the X.
between.
The in between. Yeah, I always go for the in between of the 2 shivers.
I've been, yeah.
The edge of space and time. You ever been there, Elias?
Thank you for visiting. Please attend the tour again soon.
Oh yeah, comment card. So yeah.
Yes. If you enjoyed the tour, we accept any form of donations.
Oh yeah, I have. Oh yeah.
The
Uh,
toll
I
is-
have the donation. I have the for the kids. And stuff.
And
There's no requirement of a donation. Oh,
thanks for the follow. Welcome in.
There you go. A flute. That's about all I've got on me at the moment. Unless you want crab.
You might want to write something. It's gonna take me forever to write
And
something.
feel free to come back. Exhibits
Hand me
will
that
be
flute.
rotating in and out.
hand me the flute. I want to see if it works.
Ooh,
I'll
the
take
flute.
I'll take a letter and envelope and go, and I'll mail you my comment card.
It costs a true silver to mail junk.
Well, you can just take it out of my pen pal tab.
There's pieces of paper here if you'd like to leave a review.
That's a flute.
That's not a flute.
Yeah, it was thrown down. It looks like it's been soaked in the waters or something. Did you find this in the ocean?
Maybe you're playing it backwards.
On the shore. I found it on the shore.
Yeah, here you go. Here, have this as
I
well.
probably washed up.
It seems like it's wet on the inside.
Shake it out. Turn it upside down.
Well, I've been very sweaty.
Yeah.
That's
Also, go check out Telescope Show.
That knife was used
he's
by my ex-wife to
done
open
a
up
lot of the
letters.
storylines behind
It's
everything.
cursed.
So,
I give it to the alien museum now.
I'll
At
see.
this point, I think you're cursed.
Might be. Probably have a lot of bad karma floating around.
Oh,
My, 27 ex-wives. I
27.
Only
I thought you
assume
were
I
up
could
to
have
28
Yes.
now.
2 to
He
3
did a whole
kids
list
per
earlier.
ex-wife. Yeah, I did the whole list. All 27. At least 27. That's as far as I can remember. If they start sending me mail, I'll let you know if I find another one. But luckily, I moved so much that they can't find me. I don't want to pay it any support, so you know what? I'm telling you all too much. They're gonna find me now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So you do birthdays here and social events, weddings. You do, like,
Birthdays,
Bar mitzvahs?
anniversary, bar mitzvahs, yeah.
Sweet 16, quinceañeras.
If we do Sweet 16 parties, they can't be kids that are afraid of the horrors.
Is that for 16 people?
Oh yes.
Yeah. They're sweet. The candy party for 16.
Oh,
So you do
that makes sense.
funerals and or
The
galleon
wax is
sinkings?
so big up front.
Wedding anniversaries. Do what?
Look how big the wave is.
Oh my goodness, it's raining out here. It's hard to tell
The wave
sometimes.
is so big.
It's an oddity museum. It's supposed to have a big wave. It's part of the.
Oh, she's been swept out.
Yeah, pulled her out to sea.
Bagatha's out to sea.
No, I'm
Good
fine.
luck out there.
You gotta
You
be
go in one
careful.
way, you come out the other. I'm fine. I'm right behind you.
You gotta be careful of the,
Oh, look, your next
the
door's it.
berry table or berry dock.
There's a ship out there. There's more ship out of the ocean.
Yeah,
than
we
the
had that same problem. We almost hit a rock coming on the way.
That
Whoa.
ship will be destroyed at
Oh.
sea.
It might
The
be.
Shiverman is coming with his waves. Take someone. Someone escaped.
That could be. They could be leaving the shimmer now, prowling the open ocean.
Does anybody have a spotlight? Maybe we can steer them away from the shore.
No. Whee!
What is the name? Is this like an odd wave? Like, is there a name for this type of wave you have here? Like a cursed wave, or?
Yeah, it's
And-
probably cursed. It's probably the oddities drawing the water. It's probably the shimmer figure over there, drawing the waters higher. Doesn't want their story to be told. I think that's our neighbors arriving home. I know it's very shallow over there, so they're probably being
You got
careful.
neighbors?
Yes, we have neighbors.
Something knot. Can't read the whole thing. A framed knot?
I don't know.
That's what the boat.
Afraid not.
My eyes
Dreadnought?
are nothing.
It's not raining anymore.
No?
Your
Okay.
bandages won't get wet.
You sure there are 17 oddities?
Yes.
Does that include like a people or just exhibits?
Just exhibits. We're not part of the oddities, we're just old, that's all.
I'm not too sure I saw 17.
Yeah, there's 17 in there. You weren't counting while you were looking?
No, hold on. There's the knights made out of pots and pans.
Already
There's
skipped
the
some.
monkey. Huh? No, I'm just counting what I remember. There's the monkey. There's the shimmer figure first. There's an upside down cow. There's the
Sheep.
puke floor with the balls on the chair. There's the spider. There's the teeth. There's the toenails.
Yes.
You're
missing the cheese shop.
the cheese cat. Cheese
There's
cat.
There's a sheep on a smokestack in there.
The sheep one.
And
And the
then-
giraffe ears.
Yes,
Ear, nose, and throat.
examination chair.
And then there's the one with the monkey,
I said a monkey already.
The fire cart.
and
There's
her,
the,
the cow.
The armor. The
There's the
pan
mushroom
armor.
everyone dove into over and over.
There's the mushrooms. There's the what? What, Derek?
The pans, the armor suit made out of cooking
That's the
pans.
one I said at first. What the
Okay.
balls? You guys are counting.
I
them
wasn't listening
like
to you.
3 times.
There's a dungeon filled with toenails.
Yeah, I did that one.
There's a mermaid
We're only up
training
to 12.
farm.
Oh, the mermaid one. That's
There's
13.
There's a spider cave.
Yeah, I did that one.
There's a
Did
circus.
you say about the
organ.
cow?
Yeah, I did the cow. What circus? Oh, Oregon. Yeah, that's
There's
a
an
14.
Yeah, there's a widow of Shallow Creek with a grave.
All right, the grave. That Chronoa did not get into. That's a 15.
There's a sausage body in there. You didn't mention that one.
The freaking sausage belly. That's a 16. And you guys, 17. Awesome.
Oh, there's a fireplace. You didn't mention that one.
What the fireplace? Oh, the one that grew
Fireplace.
3 sizes that day. That's a true.
That one.
Wow, 17 for reals.
Yeah, there's 17.
Yeah, Derek's afraid of ghosts.
I'm not afraid of ghosts. I just saw one in Elias's house one day.
Uh-huh.
I did.
Cool.
I'm not afraid of them.
You know,
I
when I
just saw
see a
one.
ghost, I'm like, that's not a ghost.
Well, if something's there looking at you and flickering in and out of existence,
Like a shimmer figure.
kind of, yeah, like a shimmer figure.
Elias? Wait, where's Elias? Elias!
Elias is tired, I think.
Yeah, I think he's already locked the doors and swept the lobby out.
Does he have a shimmer in his shop? A shimmer shop?
It was on top.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, how could there possibly be a shimmer figure without a shimmer in the shop?
That's a good question.
Has Elias crossed any shimmers recently?
Well, Well, we left yesterday. We went across a couple of shimmers yesterday and back
Yes,
again.
we went to the post
Two
office.
more.
Did you know the Going Postal have its unclaimed properties? For 5 silver, you can purchase some unclaimed property.
Bought a letter and
Yeah,
it had 10 silver.
I did. Wait, what?
Yeah,
I bought a letter and it had 10 silver coins inside.
What the balls?
It said it's that stupid money from that stupid bet. And it was signed from one person to another.
yeah. All I got was a membership program. Said that I was already gold membership. If I wanted to upgrade to the diamond membership, I have to pay 24 gold.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was awful. He didn't join, however. He's still thinking about it. You never know.
Yeah,
This-
I mean, it might have a good perks. It's a gold.
yeah.
this is-
I can't
the
remember
jelly
if
of
it
the-
was the Schooner Club or what. I couldn't. I didn't read it all, but it was some gold membership club.
Okay. You guys like a schooners? You trying to join a schooner club?
I think Elias mentioned something interested in the Schooner Club.
Elias
Well,
is
yeah,
our
of course.
shipbuilder. He'd have to be the one to decide if we need to join a club.
No, it's not. It's not
In
like
charge
that.
of all
No.
schooners.
He's in. He's down to join DTJ. You know, but you guys, you make your own choices and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's true. We may ride along. We have a lot to do here as well, so you never know. We can always ride along, though, too.
Imagine.
You don't allow rafts, do you?
Oh, schooner club.
All right, good. No, I was just...
No galleons.
No galleons.
Yeah, also no galleons.
On a galleon. That doesn't make any sense. Cool.
Speaking of all the freaky junk you guys know, you know anybody who lives like alone in a castle? Just checking.
Alone in a castle.
What
Well,
castle?
Any castle. We're just looking to rent a space, and so we're trying to find the people who might have like a big building that no one's using because they built it, but they live alone.
No, I don't know of anyone. Lives alone in a castle.
Okay, well, just keep your peepers peeled and let us know if you find them. We're looking for like a cool space to just use, like a rent.
Hot castle or cool castle?
Yeah, either is fine. Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Not as
Yeah.
hot as here though, cause that's too hot.
No, not here.
Listen, I bet it's in like sort of cold areas. It's always cold and like dark stone castles.
Cool
Yeah, of
castle.
course.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. Now we'll keep our eyes open and keep our ears open as well for some sort of castle for rent. Sounds very
Okay,
interesting.
Yeah, we're just looking to put on like a little play and stuff, but we need the setting, so.
Oh, all right. Well, you're welcome to put on a play here if you ever need to. All right.
It's possible, but I don't know.
Ugh, all right. No, it's fine. Either way.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, cool. That's cool.
Oh, if you'll give me just one moment, I'm sorry.
You okay there?
Yeah, I was just looking at something.
Got you. Oh, I get you.
Thanks for the tour.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
impressive actually.
It looks bigger from the outside.
Well, I'm glad y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was cool. Are you looking to put like a ducks all the way around to the town?
No, I think that's all we're gonna do.
You ever thought about having an animal parade
Nah.
on your docks?
What do you mean an animal parade?
Just get some animals and you color them up and just parade them.
We figured once people start hearing about the museum, these docks are going to be so crowded that nobody will be able to walk by each other.
You'd have to hire more people to give tours. Or have like an automated tour.
One person per exhibit.
This is 17 people. That's a lot of money. Holy balls.
I like to recycle my knives.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Why are there so many pigs out here? There's a pig on that.
Need to start selling the eggs.